Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. This is Moltrap again from sc2gg.com, and I'm bringing you Game 2 of the set from between Artosis and Nyoken, and this is the round 1 of the World Cyber Games US Open Tournament, an invitational tournament. Basically, these guys are some of the top players from last year's US Nationals, and so they've invited them here to this tournament to play against each other for basically spots at the World Cyber Games Nationals for this year and the like. And so what we have here is this map is Blue Storm, by the way. We have Artosis is going to be in purple in the top left-hand corner of the map, and that means that Nyoken is going to be in the bottom. Did I say top left-hand corner? I meant top right-hand corner. And Nyoken is going to be in yellow in the bottom left-hand corner. And let me show you the map, I guess, here real quick while both players are getting their things started up. So this is Blue Storm. It's a very popular map these days. It's being used in one or two of the professional Korean tournaments, in fact. You've got your main base here. It's a two-player map, so that does make it sometimes prone to what are called cheese builds. Cheese being when you're going for some kind of all-in strategy. Oftentimes you'll build your buildings near the opponent's base or something like that. So it doesn't look like other players doing anything like that just yet, though. I mean, they're not doing proxy barracks or anything like that, but we'll see. So let's see, what is he doing? Oh yeah, see Nyoken going over here and checking for proxy barracks already, seeing if Artosis snuck in an SCV to build barracks inside of his base. Very, very smart, expecting that on this map some sort of cheese might happen. So you've got your a choke point here, and then it goes up to your natural expansion, and it's kind of an uphill map. You have this little tiny choke point here that only small units can get through. So the only units that Terrans have that can get through that little gap there is units that come out of their barracks: medics, marines, and fire bats. And usually in Terran versus Terran, you don't see units like that. And yeah, so Nyoken very concerned about cheese here. He's sending his SCV all the way around to check to see if there's any barracks up here. And let's see, this is a scouting SCV, so he's probably going to go and scout Artosis. But no, he's even going to go over here and make sure there's no buildings over in this. This is another popular spot to put some kind of proxy barracks. And he's checking over here, and there's nothing there, so he is going to go and just go ahead and scout Artosis' base. So Artosis is going for a pretty standard build here. He's taking his SCVs off gas, actually, so what that means is he's probably going to be getting command center here pretty quickly. Although usually they leave one SCV on gas when they're going to do that, just to have a little bit of intake, so he's really trying to rake in the minerals. Nyoken is going to come in here. He sees, oh, I don't know if he even scouted that there was no SCVs on gas. Now he's going to get chased away by the Marine. He may have in fact seen that. It's hard to tell if he saw if there was SCVs on gas or not, but his SCV, his scouting SCV, is going to get chased away by that Marine. He'd rather have it run away than just get killed by this Marine here. He may come back for a second attempt at scouting at some point here. It looks like he is actually already going in for a second attempt at scouting. Oh, but there's a second Marine there. He could have snuck by one. Oh wait, he might sneak by two. He does get in, but that SCV only has one hit left on it. Let's see what he can see. He does. He sees the fact, oh, and Artosis puts his SCVs back on gas, but I think Nyoken saw that. I think Nyoken saw that there was no SCVs on gas before that. So now he's got two SCVs on gas, it looks like. Maybe three, actually. It's hard to tell because there's always one inside of the thing. But yeah, so picking off that scouting SCV. In the meantime, Artosis, it looks like, has also gone in here and gotten denied the scout, it looks like. I wasn't paying too much attention, but these guys are such high-level players that, I mean, there's a lot of multitasking in high-level Starcraft, where you have players that are just doing insane amounts of things at the same time. Even this early in the game, they'll be doing several things at once. And Nyoken actually getting a starport down very quickly. Last game, both players did a cloaked Wraith Rush. This is not a cloaked Wraith Rush since he has gotten his second command center up already. So it's not going to be a rush, and Artosis' expansion is up a little bit late. But he could get some wraiths. We often see players, when they get a fast command center, they'll get wraiths to kind of cover. Because wraiths, you can put a lot of pressure on your opponent with wraiths. You can make them build extra buildings like armory to get Goliaths to kill the wraiths. You can make them build an academy. You can make them build a comsat center. So you make them spend a lot of money on defending against those raids. And so it's a good way of covering so that they can't do a quick push and attack you while you're vulnerable, while you're still getting your economy up and running. So let's see if he is building a wraith. That doesn't necessarily mean he's going to commit to a lot of raids, but at least one wraith is enough to. It's just enough. I mean, we've seen some really high-level players in the Korean professional scene do things like this. Firebat Hero, I know, just did a game where the same thing happened, basically, where he just got a wraith just to put some pressure on. I think that was Firebat Hero. In any case, so we see Nyoken going for some tanks here. He is bringing his Marines back to slowly pick off the barracks. Barracks have a lot of, and he is going to reveal that wraith by attacking the barracks with it, but he's going to try and stop that barracks before it gets too far back. And oh, going for a second starport with the control tower, so he's almost certainly going for a cloaked wraith rush after all, and he's going to try and kill this barracks before it can spot it, but I think Artosis is going to be able to see it. Oh, his barracks stops critically. I can't tell if it's within range or not. He's going to see that control tower, but I don't think he can see this second starport here. In the meantime, Artosis is coming in with speed upgraded vultures trying to pick off some SCVs. Artosis has committed a lot to vultures, whereas Nyoken has gone for tanks there. And oh, he does spot the second starport. In fact, he's going to pick off the SCV building that second starport and slow down production there. So that is going to be critical. He knows that this is coming. He knows that Nyoken is committed to double starport build. Well, he's not committed to it. He can still cancel this theoretically and go for something else, but it's going to be hard for him to turn back now. In the meantime, Artosis building has 3 factories up, and they're all pumping vultures. He's not even producing any tanks. Let's see if he produces a tank after this. We'll have to wait and see. But Artosis is very much committed to this vulture build. And by the way, it may have looked like they just ran to their suicidal deaths in Nyoken's base before. And going in again with mines, planting down mines right outside of the factory. So if any more units come out of that factory, they're going to get hit by those mines immediately. Picking off SCVs here and there. Three vultures picking off a lot of SCVs and planting down mines all over the map. That one Marine taking it for the team and taking out 2 mines by himself. And Nyoken doing a good job of microing his troops into his base, picking off those mines without even having a comsat center, and managing to take all that stuff out. He does have an academy up now, so he's going to be able to get comsat for that. But in the meantime, what was this building? Probably a second factory. No, another barracks. Oh right, his barracks got taken out, so he needs a new barracks before he can build another factory. So Nyoken committing heavily to tanks, and Artosis committing heavily to vultures here. And so it'll be interesting to see what happens here. Yeah, all vultures. And now the raids come into play. Nyoken producing raids from 2 starports now. Actually, it looks like he's just produced 2 raids. He's not producing any more at the moment. But attacking those SCVs, Artosis losing several. But he has the Goliaths out already because of the fact that it took so long for Nyoken to get these raids out to his base. Nyoken is not going to do nearly as much damage as he could have with those raids until the cloak is upgraded. Because Artosis saw it when he went with those vultures. He probably immediately built an armory as soon as he saw that. So he was able to have Goliaths out by now. And looks like Artosis is finally producing some tanks now. So he's switching over into more of a tank Goliath mode here after having that vulture harassment. He's going to get comsat up as well. It is possible that Nyoken could just overrun him by making him waste his cloak by going with little cloak runs. And it's always a cat and mouse game trying to get the other person to spend their comsat energy. Oh, Nyoken cut out there. One wraith almost picked off, not quite. He's going to have to get an SCV repair, but he does have, sorry about my lost control on there. He does have cloak upgraded. Artosis is just getting his comsat centers in right now, so we'll see if he comsats and tries to take out those raids. Yeah, he is going to take out 1 raid, but the other 2 raids get away, but he only has 1 comsat left right now. And Nyoken, in the meantime, has a lot of tanks outside of his base. So, like I said, the cloaked raids have forced Artosis to get a lot of different buildings to combat the raids. He's got an engineering bay up. It looks like the engineering bay is going to get taken out, actually. So he needs to build some turrets right quick before he loses that engineering bay. Turrets are really, really good against raids. They're able to detect the raids, in case you didn't know that, and basically they're a lot easier to deal with raids than, and he is going to lose that I don't think he produced a single turret with that engineering base, so that was looking very, very bad for Artosis, actually. He's got tanks camped right outside of his base, shelling his natural. They're within range to attack this area, and that's why he had to pull his SCVs out of the way. And now he's going to actually have to pull his command center back. I can't believe he lost his engineering base. That was really, really tragic for Artosis. He's going to have to find another way to... He's going to have to use his one comsat center only to deal with these raids, and Goliaths as well. So things looking not good at all. He's trying to mine a little bit out of off of his base. He's going to mine a little bit of gas out of there. The gas is almost more important than the minerals. Gas is what you really need to produce most of the Terran units that are going to be effective, your tanks and your Goliaths and what have you. And so he's going to have... Man, Artosis is in a lot of trouble here, actually. He's got a significant force out here, though. If he can break this containment and take out some of these tanks, then that would be a real big deal. Look at these. The tanks have 10 kills, 7 kills, 10 kills, 2 kills, 10 kills, 2 more. So a ton of kills on these tanks. He's killed so many SCVs, and now he's even produced a turret inside of this base so he can spot, so he doesn't need to keep his raids over there. Looks like Artosis is going for a counterattack, a counter push of some kind here. And oh wow, Nyoken building a command center at the 12 o'clock position right next to Artosis' base. That's sneaky. He might be just hoping that Artosis doesn't see it, or on the other hand, he could just be counting on the fact that his defenses are over there, and so it's more easy to defend point for him. But Artosis going in for a complete counterattack here. All of Nyoken's forces are out at Artosis' base, and Artosis just has free reign to just run in here and do whatever he wants in Nyoken's base at the moment. And so he's running a ton of units in here. If he takes out these factories, oh, mine going off, killing one of the tanks. I mean, he's very, very lucky for Artosis. He didn't lose his own units with that, but some of them did get damaged, it looked like, from the splash from the mine damage. But man, if he loses these gateways, then he will just be able to outproduce Nyoken here. In the meantime, he's setting up... Nyoken is moving in. He realizes he's getting sieged. He's going to move in as well. But Artosis is trying to set up a sort of a final last stand here in his own base, just to... And looks like Nyoken bringing SCVs off the line, trying to combat these siege tanks. They're going to take a lot of the hits from the siege tanks, make the tanks splash each other, do a lot of damage. But a lot of SCVs going down, a lot more SCVs than I expected going down to the Goliaths. The tank's still not getting taken out. One tank not in siege mode, able to pick off a lot of SCVs on its own. And finally, Nyoken getting a little bit of a defensive perimeter just barely inside of his base there. But things looking a little bit bad for Nyoken at this point, although he has not lost any factories. And that is absolutely critical. If Artosis had taken out these factories, then that would be pretty much the game for Artosis, because of the fact that Nyoken wouldn't be able to produce any more units, and he is going to barely be able to produce a couple more tanks and run them in and take out these last couple tanks there with some SCVs to support. So Nyoken is going to be able to hold this off. Back at Artosis' base, though, Artosis is not able to use that expansion anymore. Nyoken has moved in close enough that he's able to siege anything that's going to be in his area, and so he's basically completely stopped Artosis from using his expansion. Artosis critically has not stopped Nyoken from using his expansion. I think this is basically, the game is way in favor of Nyoken, because he's got 2 more bases going up now. Whether or not he's going to have the SCV count to use them is a different story, though. He's lost a lot of SCVs. But I think he's lost only about as many as Artosis. Artosis, a very, very good macro player, has managed to macro up a lot of forces in this time period. Nonetheless, going in at a critical moment when Nyoken was unsieged. And now, unfortunately, though, he does have a little blockade here, so it's going to be more difficult for Artosis to break that ramp. But he just has too many units built up here, and he is going to break that containment. He's getting shelled from the long range here and losing a lot of units, but it's better to lose some units and be able to break out and be able to use your expansion, and he's probably going to float his command center back into that natural expansion very quickly, very soon. And yeah, moving his barracks over to spot so he can outrange these tanks there. It looks like Nyoken has spotted that base in the bottom right-hand corner, but we'll see if he's able to do anything about it. Right now, Nyoken's probably going to be a little bit distracted, and 3 burning factories, putting up a machine shop once again so he can produce more tanks. He's probably going to get more factories going pretty soon as he starts getting these bases up and running here. And there's the raids back in play. And oh, he's managed to kill... During that battle, Artosis lost all of his Goliaths, almost all of his Goliaths, so these raids are going to be able to do some damage. It looks like they were attacking these tanks, but they're getting repaired. So not too much harm there. I didn't see what got killed over here. But some mines, I think there's some mines missing, so it may have been force of tanks or something like that. Looks like Artosis is going in, trying to do another harassment with his Vulture. Vultures, like I think I said this before, but they cost 75 minerals, so if you can do a little bit of damage with them, they're worth it. They're worth it. So if you can kill 1.5 SCVs basically per Vulture, then you're gonna be killing 75 minerals of your enemy's troops, so they're worth it then. And he's also able to lay a bunch of mines out here and just cause a lot of havoc, make Nyoken spend his comsats in order to clear out the mines, that sort of thing. And that's what he's doing right now. He just comsat, he's clearing out mines with his tanks and such. He doesn't need comsat for too much else though, because Artosis has not gotten those mines. It looks like he's going to try and go in with take the damage, take the first hits from the tanks with the SCVs, while his tanks come in and obliterate those 3 tanks. Very nicely done. The SCVs took the hits, and then these tanks were able to finish off Nyoken's tanks. So now, and then there's still a turret over here. I didn't see that. He never routed and killed the turret. But so now Artosis finally able to take his third base, or sorry, well, now it's his third base. Take his expansion back, and so Artosis now running at 3 bases. Nyoken, however, running at 4 bases. Although neither of them have their bases really up and running at full capacity. Even, oh, look at this. Yeah, because of all that stuff in his main, Nyoken has no SCVs mining in his main right now. So he's actually, even though he has 4 bases, he's not mining as much as you might expect. Whereas Artosis has, he's got SCVs mining his main. He's got a lot of SCVs mining at his natural, and then down here at his bottom right-hand base, he's also got several. Oh, Ray's moving in here, doing some damage. I don't know if he has comsat energy. He does have energy for comsat now. We're probably going to see it go off in just a moment and take out these raids once he realizes that they're there. There they go. One wraith gets taken out. The second wraith also gets taken out. So, yeah, bottom right-hand corner is up and running decently as well. And Artosis moving out with a decent force here. Oh, moving into, he didn't know those tanks were there. Moving into a little bit of a trap. He could not see those tanks. And it looks like he lost a couple of his units before the fact that, before the tanks realized that they were there. He lost a couple of his tanks and others before he was able to fall back. And now we're seeing classic Blue Storm. Usually you see this diagonal through the middle of the map separating the 2 sides, top left and bottom right, and you almost see a big standoff between those 2 sides. So it looks like both sides setting up to try and contain this area. It's so difficult to get up this ridge when there's tanks shooting down at you. And so it's easy to just take that ridge, line it with tanks. It looks like Artosis is actually going to try and go around, though. He's going to go around. He's going to try and avoid this little placement in the north by going around through the south, do a bit of a counterattack or maybe a flank maneuver here. And he is going to try moving here. Only 2 tanks guarding this base here. There's no command center there, so he's not really using that base. The mines, looks like a couple of mines went off over here. Hitting some tanks. It looks like he may have taken out the tanks before they did anything. But now Artosis has sent his force into the middle of the lion's den here. His forces are stuck inside the heart of Nyoken's territory. He's going to try and go in for another attack. And Nyoken just has his forces spread out a little bit piecemeal. So Artosis is able to just go through and pick them off as he encounters them. On the other hand, Nyoken, it looks like, is trying to move in and do the same thing, but he's just not able to. Artosis also has a small force over here to stop him. And, yeah, Artosis, wow, sitting a huge siege right outside of Nyoken's natural. Nyoken's sending in a lot of SCVs, and he's actually able to take out a significant amount of Artosis' tanks with those SCVs. But, in the meantime, yeah, Artosis shelling his natural base. And he needs to do something. Okay, now he's bringing in some tanks here. It looks like they are without a range. He's going to have to unsiege, move up a little bit, and siege again. And hopefully pick off these tanks little by little. The Wraith coming in as well to spot and also to do some damage there. And so this little force is going to get taken out pretty quickly here. But in the meantime, Artosis is doing a lot of damage, losing several tanks, but killing off lots of SCVs at the same time. And that's funny. On the minimap, this is purple, so you can tell that these are actually... I think Artosis' spider mines sitting by Nyoken's base here, And finally, Artosis' little base gets taken out. But Artosis is gone for some raids too. He realized that Nyoken had all tanks on the ground, didn't have any Goliaths, so he's just powering out some raids now to deal with this sort of thing. The SCV is trying to repair the tanks, but he's attacking the SCVs now. And this is going to take a lot of multitasking from Nyoken to figure out which tanks need repairing and which SCVs repairing. And finally gets out a few vultures there, and the comsat goes off. He's able to drive those raids off. Although now the comsat has worn off. I'm not sure how much you can see. He has a comsat energy for a couple more comsats. Actually, he's got plenty of comsat energy in all of his comsat stations, so it won't be difficult for him to deal with those raids. Yeah, driving him off once again, comsatting there. So, man, it's really difficult to call who's in the lead right now. Let's see. Nyoken has 7 or 8 SCVs mining at each of his bases, except for his natural base. And Artosis has mined out of his main completely, but he's got several SCVs mining at his 2 bases. And actually, it looks like Nyoken is a little bit ahead in economy. All he needs to do is transfer SCVs over here, and he'll have 4 bases going, although his main is nearly mined out as well. But he hasn't been mining at it for a lot. But Artosis is really committing to this race now, trying to catch Nyoken off guard, just making a lot of raids and forcing Nyoken to spend a lot of comsat energy to see those raids when they're cloaked, picking off several SCVs just as they're running away. Things looking actually pretty bad for Nyoken now, because now he's not mining from one of his bases. And he's lost his other base up here. That got attacked as well by this group of tanks and Goliaths. So things looking horrible for Nyoken now. Things have definitely swung in Artosis' favor. He doesn't have any of that comsat energy anymore on one of his bases, and he's still got the command center up here, but he's not mining from it. So basically all he's mining from right now is his main, which is almost mined out, and his natural base, whereas Artosis is mining from a few more bases. And with his forces getting hunted down slowly, Nyoken GG's leaving the game, and so Artosis has tied the series up 1-1. This is going to go to a tiebreaker, and it's going to go to the final game to see who takes this best of 3 series.